I know I shared with you all on our first day of class that I'm very interested in communication apprehension and communication anxiety because I really feel like that one obstacle, if we can really hone into what bothers us when we communicate and what happens to us when we have that, uncomfortable feeling. Maybe your heart starts racing. Maybe you can't breathe as easily. Sometimes there's sweaty palms. A lot of different things happen. And if we don't figure out how to manage that in the way our mind works and kind of just how to turn it a little differently, we might end up avoiding public speaking for the rest of our lives. And it's completely unnecessary because we know enough from research on public speaking that we absolutely, undoubtedly can overcome and manage the fear. I recently learned about some research from who we call in communication studies the father of communication. And the reason that we called his name is James McCrowski, the father of communication. He is passed, I believe, in 2012, but he has done more research and more work in communication studies than anybody. And he just really did tons and tons of work. When I first read all of the lists of his work, I thought, my goodness, this is enough work in communication studies to be like for 3 or 4 full-time human communication scholars. And so James McCrowski actually started researching communication apprehension when he was instructing public speaking in the 1960s. And what led him to devote so much of his work to just communication anxiety and communication apprehension was in his public speaking class in Pennsylvania, at Pennsylvania State. Actually, not in the class specifically, but what he found was that there were a lot of suicides happening in a 6-month period. And they realized after they looked at these 14 suicides in a 6-month period that 13 of them all had something in common, and they were all enrolled in public speaking. And they had found out that many of these students were extremely having really high communication anxiety, and so that happening, and him observing that in his class and at that university led him into most or majority of his work, a large chunk of his work dedicated specifically to this communication anxiety. So all that to say is because of his research and all the work that has happened since the 1960s, it's been a lot. We know a lot about this subject. But what I'm asking you to do is I need you to commit to paying attention to what triggers you when you get nervous when you're speaking. Some people are more comfortable speaking to a couple people, but they're extremely uncomfortable speaking to large groups. Now, there's actually some people that can speak to hundreds or even thousands of people and be completely undisturbed, but they're very uncomfortable talking one-on-one or to a audience of 8. So these are questions I want you to commit to start asking yourself. Like, I'm reading some of the questionnaires, the surveys that are coming in on discussion board, and I'm seeing you're nervous. And I have to say that is normal. But I want you to start figuring out like what happens and what you're thinking about when you're feeling that nervousness. So Communication anxiety or communication apprehension is just one little part of chapter 1 in our text, but we will be talking about this throughout the course because I believe if we can hone in and master this one part, I truly believe with the part of organization and the part of practice combined, you will get to actually enjoy public speaking and it can become part of your future success. And I see it in this class. I know it's possible. So please start paying attention to your nervousness specifically. Nervousness is normal. And it's very normal in a speech class for students to be afraid that they're going to get stage fright when they get up there. And essentially, that is, adrenaline, which is a hormone released into our bloodstream. And it's kind of just a response to mental and physical stress, adrenaline. Now, our text really says we should not try to eliminate all stage fright. And they suggest you turn it into stage excitement or stage enthusiasm. And I remember my public speaking teacher telling me that you're not afraid, you're excited. Okay. And it just that one little turn of thinking, telling yourself that can really help prepare you to give a more confident speech. So there's 6 ways in our text that they suggest that we will help us to move past this communication apprehension. Number 1, prepare, prepare, prepare. I can't say that enough. Think positive. Think about what you're thinking about. And if you're thinking it's not going to go well, stop and start thinking, this is going to be the best speech I've ever given. I'm learning more every day. I'm getting to be a better and better speaker. These are the thoughts you want running through your head. Know that your other peers in your audience, most of your nervousness, they cannot see. It's not visible. One thing that I really want to stress, and this is number 4, is don't expect perfection. I am really seeing that in students that, and especially now that we're doing videos, you can see yourself and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do this, or I looked that way and I should have been looking at the camera, or whatever. Try to just look for improvement each time. Throw out perfection. I want to encourage you to try and use the power of visualization. Actually see yourself giving a speech and you're confident. And you can actually see the audience or the people watching your video and how engaged and impressed they are. So really use the power of that visualization. See your speech going the way you want it to go. And last but not least, on day 1, I covered the best proven method that I know so far to put yourself in alpha gamma state. And alpha gamma state is the best state for us to perform in, speak in, and test in. And that method is called 5-5-5. And just remember, it's very simple. If you follow these directions, it is forced relaxation and you automatically will be primed and ready to give an excellent speech. And that is, you just breathe in to the count of 5. You hold your breath for 5 seconds. You blow out for 5 seconds. And then you repeat that 5 times. And then you are in alpha gamma state. And the reason we want to be in alpha gamma state is because when we are afraid or nervous or angry, the logical part of our brain shuts down. And so that's when we can't even get a coherent sentence out, or all sorts of different things happen. And we don't want those kind of things happening in our speeches. So by priming yourself and doing this 5-5-5 breathing exercise, your logical part of your brain is turned on. You are in this amazing, feel good, ready to speak uh, state. And that's where we want you to be. Okay, so I want you to practice 5-5-5 and continue to think about how communication apprehension is impacting you. And please be prepared to commit to improving this one area this semester.